Stay tuned.
Like, share, and subscribe to the Ring Ropes and Turnbuckle podcast and Bars Wrestling Media. Don't forget to follow Bars Wrestling Media on TikTok, along with Jay Styles and Darkwing Dub.
And now, here are your hosts for the Ring Ropes and Turnbuckle podcast, the insightful Escott Bars Wrestling Media, the dynamic Darkwing Dub, and the man with the facts, the historian, Jay Styles.
Yeah. We is back. You see the topic of discussion today. Before we get started, you see the topic of discussion. You see who's on our screen. So we're going to run through this video real quick. We're going to react to this video, and then we're going to talk about it. So let's go.
Incrementally, right? And they're doing it almost quietly. Like they're not out there thumping their chests and talking about taking down the competition and all the, the crazy stuff that, for example, AEW did in the very beginning. Producing great shows, bringing in great talent, and getting involved with great partnerships, and they're growing their business. And that's the part that excites me, watching a business grow, especially a wrestling business. Got a little bit of an affinity for it.
Yeah, shocking somewhat for me because I felt like they were almost dead a few years ago, right? It just felt like they were going nowhere, that they had no momentum, and the deal with WWE has obviously been beneficial, but it just seems like they have a ton more momentum.
Deal away from being a major player because they've got the product. They know what they're doing. There's a good team of people. They just need a bigger platform. And if they get it, watch them take off.
Are you surprised by this?
I'm surprised by it.
Yeah.
I wrote them off a long time ago.
It felt, could they at some point pass AEW? They'll never get to WWE. Let's not get crazy. But do you think they could be number 2? Takes?
By this time next year.
You think so?
I think so.
This time next year, Eric? Really? Though, right?
Yeah.
Depends on a TV deal.
If the TV deal isn't a big one, isn't a great one, that will be tough.
Damn near impossible.
Right. But
by what measure do we define a number 2? But I think in terms of television ratings, popularity, yeah, they could be number 2 in a minute.
What are they doing right that you think AEW is not doing?
They're just doing the basics and producing a show for the mainstream wrestling audience, not for that 10% hardcore sicko that everybody thinks is a cool demo, because it's not. They're making.
All right. So y'all heard him. And I didn't stop the video because I wanted people to really hear what this man was talking about. So I know y'all got a lot to say, so I'm going to just get mine out the way real quick. First of all, I feel like this is cap. And the reason why I feel like this is cap is because he's part of the reason why TNA is in the predicament that they're in right now. Like, he's part of that reason. I'm not saying he stuck the blade in and then turned it. I'm just saying he had the tools. He was an accomplice. You know what I mean? I feel like it was a group effort as far as putting TNA in the situation that they're in right now. I also feel like, too, that it's not fair to put TNA in that situation where you know good and well that they are being funded by WWE. They're basically being anchored by WWE at the moment. They're using WWE stuff. If you look at TNA right now, it looks like another WWE product. That's where it looks. So I don't feel like it's fair to put them in there when you know already that they're being anchored by WWE. How could you be a number 2? And this is no shade on TNA, because I've been preaching TNA's praises ever since Scott D'Amore. Ever since the inception, I've been preaching TNA's praises. But what I'm saying is that I don't think it's fair to put them in that category when you know they're getting help from another promotion. You can't be a number 2 when you're getting helped by the one that everyone's calling number 1. That don't make any sense. AEW stands alone by themselves as the number 2 product, as an alternative. They stand alone by themselves. So they, by right, are the alternative. TNA, by right is the number 3 right now, if you really want to be honest. But in another sense too, why are we putting labels? Why are we putting labels on any of these promotions? Like, you should be able to watch what you want to watch without any label. That's just how I feel. If I want to watch TNA, I'm going to watch TNA. If I want to watch WWE, I'm going to watch WWE. See, he knows what he's doing, because he knows that if he says this, it's going to stir up controversy, and it's going to gaslight a lot of the WWE fans. It's going to gaslight a lot of the AEW fans, and whatever TNA fans is there, it's going to gaslight them too, and it's going to start a conversation. So he's being smart about that. That's exactly what he's doing. He's gaslighting the situation because he wants people to go off. He wants people to talk about it. He knows good and well that TNA is not the number 2 programming right now. He knows that. But when asked the question, what did he do? He said it because he knows already it's going to start controversy. You understand? So at the end of the day, man, I just feel like he's capping. I don't feel like it's fair putting TNA in that conversation when he knows already that they're getting help from the other company. AEW's not getting help from nobody. And he had a falling out with AEW. So, of course, he's going to feel this way about AEW. He had a falling out. But the funny thing is that he was working for AEW for a short stint. He was on AEW television for a short stint. So, what are we talking about here, Eric? What are we talking about here? What are we doing? Like, are we really? Are we really? This is what you getting right now. This is what you getting. This is what you get right now. So.
Oh man! All right. Let me throw some facts out there. You mentioned the funding bar that WWE is doing. During the late 1970s, or even the early 1970s, actually, when Vince Sr. was calling up Mike Graham and Florida Championship Wrestling, getting Dusty to come up from Tampa to New York to Madison Square Garden. They showed it down in the Florida region, down the Georgia region. They got guys come up from Georgia Championship Wrestling. All right. The money swap between NWA territories of Georgia and Florida to Worldwide Wrestling Federation before it became WWF, now WWE. It continued all the way up until the beginning of the expansion of WWF at the time, when Vince Jr. bought it from his dad before his dad passed away from cancer complication. So that's an ongoing thing. The fact that WWE is going back to the playbook of Vince Sr., what he was doing as far as helping the competition, so to speak, is nothing new in professional wrestling. Secondly, could TNA surpass AEW by this time next year as the number 2 most watched wrestling program outside of WWE? It all depends on who picks them up on a broadcasting deal that Nick Khan is working on to help them obtain. If the right network partnership is in place, it could very well happen based on network rating. Now, in terms of overall product performance, based on the roster that TNA has in place compared to WWE's roster, including NXT, LFG, and Evolve, I don't think so. But it can take over AEW's spot because AEW does not showcase Elevation or Dark as much on the YouTube channel as they first did when they launched it, which is really hurting the back end of AEW's product, honestly speaking, because you're not seeing the developmental talent getting any mentioning even in when they do these pay-per-views in the 0 hour show, you could be showcasing the enhanced talent, these developmental talents that have had matches on Dark or Elevation on the YouTube channel because it's supposed to be free. You're not utilizing your product as you once were when you first got started. And that could really end up hurting AEW in the long run, so to speak, especially once TNA branches off away from WWE programming in their partnership deal. So, do I agree with Eric Bischoff overall? To a degree, to a small degree, not a large degree, to a small degree, based on if again, it's all about the TV deal that they're working to obtain. That TV deal brings them money outside of sponsorship. Yeah, it could. As alternate to WWE programming.
You bring up some good points, but like I said, I just feel like it's not fair to put them in that slot when you know already that they're getting an anchor from WWE. That's just how I feel. I feel like if they wasn't getting an anchor, then it might have some valid points there if they were doing this type of programming on their own, which to a certain extent, before the WWE assistance, they were still putting out a great product. But regardless of how people don't want to admit it, it's not to the extent of what we see now because the visual is different. Everything is different. They're getting bigger arenas. Last time we seen TNA in a bigger arena was like when? The early 2000s? Mid 2000s?
Mid.
So,
because remember, they came out in 2002. Right. So, and you were down in Orlando at the time. So you went to Universal Studios to see a lot of the shows there when it was with the Impact Zone and the six-sided ring. So they weren't doing a lot of live shows or pay-per-views outside of Orlando or the state of Florida at the time. It wasn't until 2000, roughly around the time Kurt Angle came on the scene. And then Samoa Joe left Ring of Honors as well as AJ Styles leaving Ring of Honors to come up with the TNA. Even though they're considered homegrown talent, to a degree, they really weren't. The homegrown talent was your Jeff Jarrett and those guys, from the WCW, that WWE didn't pick up the contracts on. Those were the homegrown talents, so to speak, of TNA.
I want to hear. I know you got a lot more to say, and we're going to get back to it. But I want to hear what Dub got to say because I know Dub is itching to talk right now on this topic. I can look at his face; he's getting flustered. So I want to hear what Dub got to say right now. Go ahead, the floor is yours, bro. Go ahead, the floor is yours. I'm getting my popcorn, so go ahead. The floor is yours, bro.
What do I say to stupidity? What do I like? I don't care. I don't give a damn what kind of TV deal that TNA gets. They're not passing AEW as the number 2. It's like what Barr said. How you gonna be considered the number 2 and have the machine backing you? It don't make no sense. Now, if it was just TNA, they got their own group, and the group is funding everything that they're doing, and then they get a good TV deal, and then, okay, maybe I can see that then. But not while you got TKO, Endeavor, AAA. Who produced Slammiversary? Shawn Michaels and Triple H.
Yo, let's give this Shawn. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like, so, for the life of me, I will not make sense of that. They're going to be the number 2 product in the next year. Okay, maybe if WWE left them alone, and then they did everything by themselves. You know, they built themselves up without the machine behind them. Okay, maybe I'll give them a chance. But Tony Khan built this from the ground up. We saw what they just did at All In. They sold out. They damn near sold out a baseball stadium. I've been to that field. I'm only 3 hours from Dallas. I've been to that field. I am a Texas Rangers fan. I've been there. That's not a small place. And it's only like 5 years old. So is TNA on the verge of doing that for a Slammiversary or a Bound for Glory?
According to Eric, they're going to be like that in the next year or so.
Absolutely not. AEW just did this. I mean, what they do, Jay, you might know the numbers. What they do at the O2 Arena and for All In?
O2 can hold over 60,000. It's actually 65. They did.
No. My bad. I said O2. I said O2. I said O2. Wembley.
Wembley, you mean? Wembley?
Yes, Wembley.
Oh, they broke WWE's record.
So, are you telling me that TNA could go to Wembley and do that?
No, not right now.
In the next year, you telling me that TNA can go over to Wembley Stadium and do that? There's only one other company that can do that at a Wembley Stadium, and they're number one. It's WWE.
Yeah.
There's only one other company that can do that. There's only one other company that can sell out a stadium like All In just did, and that's WWE. So to say in the next year that they're going to be number two, Eric needs to lay off that.
Now, let me throw this out there.
That booger sugar.
Let me throw this out there, man. What if the Prince of Saudi Arabia decided, oh, I want to bring in TNA? That's the only way it could happen. Honestly speaking, they get that Saudi Arabian money the way WWE got, then yeah, you could say that.
But again, that's what I'm saying. Again, you're still getting help from WWE because WWE is still connected to Saudi. So if you're getting help from a major machine, you can't be number two. And like I said before, this is no shade on TNA because I love TNA. I'm a diehard TNA fan. You understand what I'm saying? But I don't think it's fair to put them in that category when you know good and well the machine is helping them back up to their once promise. That's what he's doing. You know?
Yeah. But the only reason why I brought that up, I know realistically what you just said, boss, is accurate. And another thing deeper into it, the Prince of Saudi Arabia wouldn't tell the Prime Minister of Sports Commission to bring in TNA anyway, for the simple fact that they are anti-competitive. They give one brand and one brand only, with the exception of their telecommunication. Everything else is singular competition. So that wouldn't even. I was just throwing it out there that if they legitimately were into that would be the only thing where they could pay off the debt of borrowing funding from WWE, and Anthem could do their own thing. Now, here's the thing that he didn't mention. He should have mentioned that Anthem is looking for capitalist investors, not just in the United States, but in other places along the North American Caribbean region to eat away some of the debt as well, so they don't have to heavily rely on WWE funding. Because if it's going to end up happening, and I've said this before, it's going to be at some point that even if TNA gets their own television deal, they're going to be bought out by WWE at some point. Yeah. But I say by the year 2030, we're going to be talking about WWE purchasing TNA.
Probably, I think they'll probably do it before that. Yeah, honestly, because
they can't legally. They cannot. They can't do it until 2030. They can start the process, they can start a lengthy process with litigation and everything, and writing up the paperwork that it will get approved through the FCC or the
Mm-hmm.
FTC.
Mm-hmm.
But Anthem, because Anthem is based in Canada, there's different international law parameters that they all WWE international lawyers have to draw up
Mm-hmm.
that will comply with both Canada's standards and the US standards.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say by 2030, because it's going to take that a long time to do it. The money is not the issue. It's just the paperwork.
Yeah. Well, like I said, man, I just don't feel like it's fair to be, putting them in that category, knowing that they're getting funded by the machine. So, it's just this whole talking point that he just did is just to stir up controversy because we know that
And it's working.
yeah, it really is. It really is. He knows what he's doing. Not to mention, we all know that Eric Bischoff is part of a new promotion that does freestyle wrestling with Hulk Hogan and another guy or whatever. He's supposed to be some trainer or whatever. So this is all to put the spotlight on him so he could promote the new wrestling company or whatever, which is not going to be anything like what we're normally used to as far as professional wrestling. This is freestyle wrestling, so this is more like intercollegiate wrestling, traditional wrestling. But yeah, that's a topic for another time. Any closing remarks, guys?
Eric Bischoff, you suck. He's ever since AEW has came on the scene, he has tried his very, 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 very best to tear them down.
Yeah.
Like, I may not be the biggest AEW fan. I'm a fan enough to know that I like watching their stuff. Like Hangman Page, that's my favorite AEW wrestler. You know what I mean? He's been trying to tear them down since they started. And he definitely wasn't happy when Dynamite passed Nitro. So, Eric Bischoff, and by the way, kudos to Bars for pointing out the reason why TNA is in the position that it's in now, where it has to rely on the damn machine, is because of you. Eric Bischoff, you suck.
Hey man.
Oh my goodness.
Hey man.
Um,
Go ahead.
I don't have
Go
no
ahead.
closing remarks. I pretty much gave my facts. That's gonna be my closing remarks. What's the facts that I gave. So
Yeah, hey, like I said,
And
go
if you're
ahead.
not
Go ahead.
down with, and if you're not down with what I said, what does OVW like to say? I don't give a.
Shout
no,
out to
Because
and if you
OVW.
ain't down with
not
that,
just
if you ain't
not
down
just
with that,
Bars.
we got two words for you.
And if and you know why? You know why? Because Bars and Jay, they would agree with me. We want the smoke.
Yeah. 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 Hey, man. Listen, man. Stop capping. Stop capping, Eric. Stop capping.
Uncle Eric started to lose momentum.
Yeah, stop
Uncle Eric
capping.
started to sound like bitter Eric.
Yeah, stop capping, Eric. We fans of what you did with WCW. We even fans of what you did in WWE, but stop capping, bro. Keep it a buck. Keep it a buck. You know good and well you don't believe what you saying. You don't believe it. You need to stop it. You need to stop it right now. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, it's your boys Ring Rope Turnbuckle Podcast. We'll be back with another one. Sayonara.